beneath a blood-red sky. Smoke choked the air, and the stench of blood was thick enough to turn the stomach. Arrows shrieked overhead, swords clashed like thunder, and sorcery lit the world in blinding flashes. Riffenhart, the Demon King, faced a dozen foes, each one determined to see his end. "All of you, gone," he whispered, his chest tightening with grief. For centuries they had carved a path together, conquering and surviving against gods and demons alike. And now only he remained. "Your reign ends here," Riffenhart the Sword Heart declared, raising a blade crackling with divine aura. The Mage Heart lifted her staff, her incantation already weaving flames into serpents. "Your crimes end today." He looked at the heroes' charged memories, flashing of his fallen ally. They had shared firelit nights, battle strategies, victories, and scars. Once they had called each other friends. Now they are no more, as executioners remain. Reifenhart's grip tightened. If this is justice, then justice is cruel. "I will not fall here," he muttered, raising his hand as arcane energy swirled around him. The enemies hesitated, sensing the storm gathering. Alex, pressing the attack, took a direct hit and was out of the battle along with the other heroes. Only Teslan remained. Reifenhart lifted his hand. Chains of light and shadow burst from the void, whipping toward Teslan with merciless precision. Teslan moved through them like a storm, breaking the bindings with sheer force, advancing without hesitation. His fist shot forward, meeting the Demon King's barrier. The impact split the shield apart, forcing Reifenhart back across the ruined plain. Running out of options, Reifenhart said again, "I will not die here with determination." He pulled out an ancient artifact. With a roar, he unleashed the regression of time and space, a forbidden spell that twisted reality itself. The air shimmered, the battlefield melting away into blinding light. Teslan knew he could not let Reifenhart complete the spell and moved to destroy the artifact with his most powerful attack. The warriors both gave it their all, and a huge surge of energy enveloped them. Birds are seen singing, and when Reifenhart vision returned, he was no longer Reifenhart, but Teslan, a muscular warrior whose fists could crush mountains. At first he did not know that. "What is this?" he wondered. He thought that the spell would not work, even though he was a genius. Furthermore, he questioned his whereabouts and how far back in time he went. Early sun spilled across the clearing, burning away the mists of dawn. Reifenhart stood in front of a mirror, his breath uneven, his thoughts heavier than the earth itself. Slowly he lifted a hand, thick, calloused, corded with muscle. With a trembling realization, he noticed a square jaw, weathered skin, eyes sharp and unyielding. Gone were his refined features, the grace, the beauty, the powerful presence of the Demon King. What stared back was raw, brutal strength carved into flesh. "No," his voice cracked. "This face, I know this face." The memory struck him like a blade. He remembered stories whispered even in the demon lands, of the martial king Teslan, a human whose fists rivaled the weapons of gods. The irony carved a bitter smile across Reifenhart's lips. "I, the Demon King, reborn into the body of the one man who once stood as humanity's shield." His laughter died into silence, broken only by a sudden crash. The door slammed open. "Teslan, enough brooding!" a thunderous voice roared. Reifenhart turned. The man before him was old, yet his frame was still thick with hardened muscle. His gaze carried the weight of mountains. Garad, Teslan's master, wasted no time with pleasantries. He seized Teslan by the arm and dragged him into the training yard. "Your body is soft, your spirit dull. Today we forge it back into steel." The training began. Reifenhart's body, Teslan's body, was driven past its limits. "This is absurd," he coughed, collapsing. "This isn't training, this is slaughter." Garad only sneered. He bound Teslan's arms to a tree trunk. Without hesitation, he struck Teslan's stomach with a thick wooden staff. The impact was thunder. Pain erupted through his ribs. Blood filled his mouth. "Again!" Jared barked, striking once more. Reifenhart screamed. The agony was unbearable. But beneath the torment, something stirred. His body did not shatter. Each strike burned, but it did not break. Hours passed. The sun climbed, then fell. At last, when his flesh was blackened with bruises and his body shook with exhaustion, Garad released him. "You survived," the old master said simply. "You'll live to fight tomorrow." Dragging his battered frame, Riefenhart followed Garad into the bathhouse. The water shimmered faintly with herbs and minerals. Lowering himself in, he hissed as the warmth seeped into his wounds. Pain dulled, tension melted. Slowly, impossibly, his body began to mend. Floating in the steam, his thoughts darkened. If I am in Teslan's body, then who inhabits mine? He clenched his fists, the ripples distorting his reflection. Images of his old self, the Demon King, proud and unstoppable, rose unbidden. Then came the realization. Teslan, he whispered, dread coiling in his gut. If I wear his flesh, then he must wear mine. The thought gnawed at him. What destruction could the Martial King unleash with the power of the Demon King at his command? Reifenhart's gaze hardened. The bath's warmth could not wash away the chill of that fear. The morning sun glinted off a towering pile of meat, grotesque in its enormity. Reifenhart stared at it, stomach churning, as Garad barked instructions. You eat, you grow, you recover. This is how a true fighter thrives, the old master said, eyes sharp as mountain steel. Reifenhart grimaced but obeyed, chewing mechanically. Every bite was heavy, each swallow a reminder that his new body demanded more than his old mind had ever prepared for. The days were spent on the mountains. Weighted bags on his back, he climbed steep cliffs, hands raw and blistered. Push-ups performed on just a single finger, sit-ups dangling from thick branches, muscles screaming in protest. Each day ended with him collapsing, drenched in sweat, tasting iron in his mouth, and wondering how much longer this hell would last. Nights offered no respite. Lying on the thin mattress, he traced the scratches he had made on his wall. Each mark a count of days, weeks, the slow march of time in this relentless crucible. 10 years, he thought, recalling his previous life. Only after 10 years from I would a serious mage to reach my potential. Now he was trapped, forced to master a body that belonged to another, while wondering what Teslan could be doing with his original body, training, building strength, and closing in on him even now. Desperation drove him to action. One morning he slipped behind a tree and bolted, heart pounding with hope. But at the edge of the forest clearing, waiting like a shadow, was Garad. You think a story about a runaway boy will convince me? The master chuckled. I must admit, your tale of being from the future is the most creative yet. Almost believable. Escape became an obsession. Days melted into weeks of sneaking, swimming through rivers, hiding behind boulders, each attempt failing as Garad's senses and mastery always outmatched him. Even in failure, the training continued, brutal, merciless, and unending. Then one dawn, Reifenhart felt it, a surge deep in his core. His chest tightened, breath caught. Light shimmered faintly around him. His aura, the martial energy of the body he now inhabited, had awakened. Shock and awe competed in his chest. Gerard's eyes gleamed with pride. Finally, you've begun to truly awaken. Good, very good. The days after that were a whirlwind of sparring and practice. Gerard pushed him further, teaching him to harness his aura with precision. One day under the high sun, Riefenhart learned a move he would later recognize as Calamity Horn. Fists glowing with stacked aura, each strike amplified like a hammer smashing the earth. Teslan's signature technique revealed its power. This is extraordinary, he muttered, realizing not only the sheer force, but also the cunning behind it. The combination of raw power and strategic layering. Curiosity overtook him. Could his new body still wield magic? He focused, gathering what energy he could, and cast a simple arrow bullet toward a tree near the waterfall. The projectile fizzled weakly against the bark. Disappointment sank in. Magic did not flow easily here. His body, trained for fists and fury, was not attuned to spells. Frustration burned, distracting him from his surroundings. A low, commanding voice cut through the sound of rushing water. Act as if you did not see me, it said. Riefenhardt's head snapped up. A massive figure emerged from the shadows, an orc, stern, eyes sharp as obsidian. Survival instincts flared in his chest. The world around him seemed to pause, the roar of the waterfall fading, leaving only the silence between predator and prey. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and share. It really helps support the channel. Drop a comment below with your thoughts, or let me know which manhwa you want me to recap next. And of course, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future chapters or epic recaps. See you in the next video.